Good morning. We'd like to welcome you to another edition of the Sunday School Review. This week's Sunday School lesson is entitled, "The Lord is King." It's taken from Psalms 10, the 10th Song, verses 12 through 18. Now, in this lesson here, Song 10, it's probably David is the author of this song. As they generally recorded, they record Song 9 and 10 together. That is, Song 9 and Song 10 together. And Song 9 is a song of David, so most likely Song 10 is also a song of David. In other words, David is the most likely author of Song 10. Now, in our lesson today, we have two outlines. The first outline is verses 12 through 15 of the 10th Song, and that is a plea for deliverance. The second outline is a confident affirmation, and that is verses 16 through 18. Now, in verses 1, actually verses 2 through 11, is talking about the deeds of the wicked. So the verse 1 asks a question. The psalmist here is troubled. And the psalmist raises a question in verse 1. It says, "Why standest thou afar off, O Lord? Why hidest thyself in times of trouble?" And let's read verse 2. "The wicked in his pride does persecute the poor." So the issue that the psalmist raises here in verse 1 is, why is it that the wicked seem to succeed, is succeeding, while the righteous suffers? Okay, and verses 2 through 11 describes the deeds of the wicked. In other words, the wicked exploits the helpless, they exploits the poor. Let's read a couple of verses from 2 up through 11. Not going to read all of them, we're going to read a couple there. Okay, verse 2 says, "The wicked in his pride does persecute the poor." In other words, they persecute the poor. That's what the wicked does. Okay, and verse 3 said, "For the wicked boasts in his heart." The wicked persecute the poor. Verse 2, they boast in his heart, this heart desire, and they are covetous. And verse 4 says, "The wicked, though the pride of his countenance, will not seek after God. God is not in all his thoughts." Verse 5, it talked about his ways are grievous, and on. And verse 8, he said, "He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages." This is what the wicked does, okay? And this is the psalmist's issue. The wicked, 8, lurking in the place of the village, and the secret places does he murder the innocent. This is all the deeds of the wicked, okay? Verse 9, it says, "He lies in wait secretly as a lion in a den. He lies in wait to eat the poor." Okay, so basically, the wicked is exploiting the poor. They persecuting the poor. They doing all these wicked things against the poor. And as verse 1 said, "Thou thyself in times of trouble." The Lord he said, "Why are you hiding?" In other words, don't you see what's going on? Don't you see how the wicked is exploiting the poor? Don't you see what's going on? And you basically you're absent. Okay, that's his complaint. So in the first part of this 10th song, the psalmist is raising an issue, raising a personal complaint as it relates to the wicked exploiting the poor, and seemingly the Lord is unconcerned. As verse 1, the Lord is unconcerned. You don't care. Is it that you don't care? Okay. And verse 10, he crouches and humbles himself that the poor may fall by his strong by the strong one. Okay. Verse 11 says, he had said in his heart, God has forgotten. So the poor, I mean, the wicked is saying, the Lord has forgotten. Basically, as the psalmist is saying, they're thinking, we got away with it. We did wrong or doing wrong, and we got away with it. We got away clean. Okay. And let's finish verse 11. He hath forgotten, he hideth his face, he will never see it. That's the complaint that the psalmist is raising. That's the issue that the psalmist is raising. Is that as if the Lord doesn't know what's going on, doesn't see what's going on. And this is where it starts out. It starts out with despair. The song starts out with despair, but we're going to see how it ends. That's how it starts out. The righteous is very grieved because it's as if the Lord is not concerned. The Lord don't even see what's going on. The Lord doesn't even know what's going on. Okay, now our lesson begins at verse 12. That was verses 1 through 11, and that was describing the conditions that was going on that led this psalmist to raise these concerns. The fact that the poor, the helpless was being exploited, and it seemed as if the Lord was not concerned. Okay, let's go to our lesson. Our lesson starts at verse 12. There are two outlines. I think I already mentioned, but there's two outlines. The first outline is a plea for deliverance. That's verses 12 through 15 of this 10th chapter of Psalm. Verses 12 through 15. Let's begin at verse 12. Okay, he says, arise, Lord, O God, lift up thine hand, forget not the humble. Okay, the psalmist is calling on the Lord to take action. Take action. Now, so he said, please come to our rescue. Take some action. Take action. That's verse 12. Okay. And verse 13 said, wherefore does the wicked contempt God? He has said in his heart, thou will not require it. In other words, now what that is saying is that the wicked is saying, we got away with this. We did wrong and we got away with it. Now, Songs tell us, Songs 37, I believe it is, Songs 37 or 27, it's in Songs. I think it's 37, 1 and 2. Let's see. I think it's 37. Yeah, Songs 37, 1 and 2. Songs 37, 1 and 2 says, fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity, for they shall soon be cut down like the grass and wither as the green herbs. Now, so that was Psalms 37 verses 1 and 2. So what is being said there, and that is a song of David, Psalms 37. That is a song is a song of David. Spread not thyself because of evil, for they shall soon be cut down. Now, the Lord has a reason for delayed justice. I mean, we don't know why the Lord delays justice, but be assured that it will be required of them. And it says in verse 14, thou hast seen it, and thou beholdest mischief and spite, to requite it with thy hand. Okay, so the Lord sees, hears, and knows everything. And the wicked will have to repay. The Lord sees all. He sees everything. And the wicked will have to repay. It's not true that they will not have to pay. The wicked will have to repay. Now, it's just like in a sports game, like football or basketball, and you have usually 2, maybe 3 referees out on the court or the field. And there may be a infraction, there may be a foul, and the ref doesn't see it. Now, before that was, they call instant replay. If the ref didn't see it, maybe somebody in the stand saw it, but they can't go on what somebody in the stand said. Now they have instant replay. They make a call on the field, on the court, and they say, okay, let's go to the instant replay, and they see, yeah, well, that was a foul, or that was not a foul. Okay, but the Lord, before they had instant replay in the sports, the Lord already had instant replay. So it's not the fact that the wicked did something, or anyone did anything, and the Lord didn't see it. He had instant replay already. Well, yeah, I saw that. I saw that. I can play that back. I saw that. So it's not true that you won't have to repay. Sooner or later, you will have to repay. Justice will be served. As we say in the law, you will have your day in court. Okay? You will. You will have your day in court. So as it relates to the wicked, yes, it may be later, but it will happen, because nothing gets away. Nothing happens that the Lord doesn't see, that the Lord doesn't know. Okay, let's go to verse 14. And the psalmist is saying, says, thou hast seen it. Yes, because the Lord sees everything. I know you've seen it. Yeah, I saw it. Okay, thou beholdest mischief and spite. You saw it. Nothing gets away with it. To require it with thy hand. In other words, the wicked is thinking, I won't have to repay because I got away with it. No. Verse 14 is saying, the Lord saw it, and you will not get away with it. You will repay sooner or later. Okay? 14, the poor committeth themselves unto thee. Thou art the helper of the fatherless. In other words, he's giving the Lord credit that you see everything, you know everything, and you will hold the wicked accountable. Now, in our society, some people do things and seemingly they're not held accountable. But that's not going to happen with the Lord. Sooner or later. Why is the Lord delaying justice? We don't know. He has his own reasons for delaying justice, but justice will be served. And this is what the lesson says: the Lord is king. It's not like a judge that has a limited term. The Lord is king forever. This was one of the promises that God made to David. David was a man after God's own heart. Jesus is the son of David. The Lord made a promise to David that an heir, Jesus is an heir of David, that an heir of David will remain on the throne forever. That heir is Jesus Christ. So Jesus Christ is a king forever. And the Lord promised David wanted to build a house for the Lord. He said, no, I don't want you to do it. David gathered the material and all that, but his son built it. Okay, but David wanted to build a house for the Lord, and the Lord told David, I'm going to do you one better. I'm going to build a house for you, and that house will be an everlasting kingdom. That is an heir of David, which referred to Jesus Christ, will be on the throne forever. Jesus is an heir, descendant of David. And that's what that we're referring to, is David has an everlasting kingdom. David's kingdom is everlasting because an heir of David, that is Jesus Christ, will remain on the throne forever. And another thing, as it relates to paying for wrong. Now, in our legal system, most of the crimes that you commit has what is referred to as a statute of limitation. Now, there are a couple of crimes, like murder, for example, which has no statute of limitation, but most crimes have a statute of limitation. Once the statute of limitation run out, you cannot bring the claim. So the wicked think, well, the statute of limitations have ran out. But as it relates to exploiting the poor, the less fortunate, there is no statute of limitation. And the king is going to rule forever. So you're not going to be able to get away with it. Well, the statute of limitation ran out on that, like 20 years ago, 30 years ago. No. So the wicked will be required to pay, as it says in verse 14. Thou hast seen it, thou beholdest mischief and spite, to acquire it with thy hand. So the wicked will, beyond a reasonable doubt, or as they say, beyond a shadow of a doubt, the wicked will have to repay, will have to give an account for their deeds. So there is no getting away, because the wicked will be required. In other words, justice will be served. Justice will be administered. And as the scripture said in 37 and 1 and 2, Psalms 37, 1 and 2, is that fret not because of the evildoers. Be not envious of the workers of iniquity, for they shall soon be cut off. Now, in our, based on our timetable, maybe not as soon as we would like them to be, but based on God's timetable, the wicked will have to give an account. Okay, I mean, maybe we would like to be it to be done ASAP, as soon as possible, but God got his reasons, and the wicked will not escape punishment. Okay, let's go to verse 16, 15, we didn't read the 15. break thou the arm of the wicked and the evil men, seek out his wickedness till thy find no more. Basically, it says break the arm. It basically, the psalmist is saying, stop their power, remove their power. In other words, render them helpless. As I said, God has a set time, and he will bring justice, and the wicked will not escape. Okay, and that's what the psalmist is saying. As I said, it's not going to be on our timetable, but on the Lord's timetable. He will administer justice to the world in his own time, not based on our timetable. So God will ultimately judge the wicked. Okay, even if it's not done swiftly, as we would like, he will ultimately judge the wicked. Verse says, the Lord, 16, the Lord is king forever and ever. As I said earlier, Jesus is the son of David. Jesus is a descendant of Abraham, David, okay? And the Lord promised to David was that an heir would be on the throne forever. That's what the Lord promised David, an everlasting kingdom, and that which will rule forever. A king would rule forever and ever, and that's what verse 16. The Lord is king forever and ever. The heathen are purged out of the land. Verse 17. Lord, thou hast heard the desires of the humble. Thou wilt prepare their hearts. Thou wilt cease thine ear to hear, to judge the fatherless and the oppressed, and the man of the earth may no more oppress. So the song started out with despair, with hopelessness, but it ends with confident faith in God. That God would bring justice upon the wicked. So we can be assured that God will bring justice to the wicked. We can have faith and confidence that the Lord will punish. The Lord will bring justice to the wicked, because the Lord is king. He's king forever. His kingdom is an everlasting kingdom. And if he has an everlasting kingdom, he doesn't have to he doesn't have to be in a hurry, because there's no thing, well, you better hurry up and bring justice, otherwise the statute of limitations is going to run out on this and you won't be able to. But there is no statute of limitation. There is no statute of limitations there as it relates to the wicked oppressing the poor. Sooner or later, they will be required to repay. Justice will be served ultimately. And that's our lesson today. The Lord is king, and the Lord will make sure that justice will be executed. We'd like to thank you for watching. We ask you to join us next week for another edition of the Sunday School Review. Thank you.